let's unpack this. Have you ever noticed, maybe with your own kids or just observing, that some emotions they show just kind of hit different? Like certain feelings, maybe anger or sadness, they can make you, the caregiver, feel a bit, well, uncomfortable, a bit squirmy. So today we're diving deep into why that might be happening. And what's really eye-opening, I think, is how much our own childhood stuff shapes this. We're looking at a really interesting study. It's by Lemprez, Bales, and Humphreys. They studied 234 caregivers, all with preschool-aged kids.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is that digging into this caregiver discomfort, it's not just, some academic curiosity. It's actually fundamental. Understanding it is just so crucial for kids' emotional development. I mean, how they learn to handle their feelings, how they regulate, it all ties in.
Right. So let's get into the study itself. One of the first things they found, and it seems pretty clear-cut, children's negative emotions, the anger, the sadness, fear, these consistently made caregivers feel significantly more discomfort than the positive ones. So happiness, excitement, those were, well, easier to handle, it seems.
Yeah.
Which maybe isn't shocking, but does it tell us something deeper about maybe difficulty being open to those tougher feelings?
That's a great point. And, the data actually adds a bit of a twist here. Because while, yes, negative emotions overall cause more discomfort, what was surprising was that there weren't really big differences between the specific negative ones. So anger versus sadness versus fear. The level of discomfort caregivers reported wasn't statistically different.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like anger was way worse than sadness, for example.
Exactly. It suggests it's more about the general negative feeling, the negative valence, as researchers call it, rather than the specific label we put on the emotion.
Right.
And another key detail, they specifically looked at what they called caregiver-directed emotions. Meaning, when the child's emotion, maybe they're frustrated or angry, is a direct reaction to something the caregiver did or said. So it's personal in a way.
Okay, that adds another layer.
Yeah.
Right. This is where, for me, this deep dive really starts earning its name. Here's where it gets really interesting. The study looks hard at this intergenerational thing. Like, how do our own experiences growing up, how we were taught or not taught about emotions, how does that affect us now with our kids?
Precisely. And the findings there were quite powerful. It showed a really strong link across generations. Caregivers who could recall their own parents or primary caregivers using what the study termed outcome-oriented responses, like being told, stop crying, don't feel that way, or maybe the caregiver just walked away if they got upset.
Yeah, shutting it down, basically.
Right. Those caregivers reported feeling more discomfort now when their own children showed negative emotions. And the same thing was true for caregivers whose parents often used distraction, oh, look over here, instead of dealing with the feeling.
Okay, so avoiding the emotion one way or another.
Exactly. But interestingly, caregivers who remembered their parents using process-oriented responses, things like holding them, acknowledging the feeling, saying, I see you're sad, those responses didn't predict this higher discomfort later on.
Wow.
And this connects so well with that shark music concept. You might know it from Circle of Security. It's that sudden jarring feeling, that internal alarm bell that goes off for a caregiver when a child expresses a certain emotion. It's like this background music playing, often rooted right in these kinds of past experiences.
That makes so much sense. So boiling this down, what are the big takeaways from this deep dive for you listening? First, it seems it's less about which specific negative emotion your child shows and more just the fact that it is negative that can trigger our own discomfort. And second, maybe most importantly, that shark music, those echoes from how we were cared for, really does play a big role in how comfortable or uncomfortable we feel with our kids' feelings today. Understanding that history seems key.
Absolutely. And this raises an important question, maybe something for you to think about after this. This study, like many, involved participants mostly from Western cultural backgrounds. So this raises an important question. How might different cultural norms around expressing emotion or socializing children about feelings change these findings? What does that mean for how we understand this whole process more globally? It's definitely something worth mulling over and maybe points towards where more research needs to be.